share their fears when anytime they encounter a new baby, especially with Korean families. They say these things, and it comes with a warning to kind of emphasize their point without realizing maybe that the warnings are very horrifying. So we had lots of comments from not just the older generation, but even the younger generation about be careful that you don't drop the baby, or that, the baby's warm enough, or it's the flu season. I think in Korean culture, it's very ingrained to show a lot of respect to your elders. And, when I was listening to those warnings, I couldn't say anything back. You can't really talk back in those situations. So I definitely tried to take on what they were saying.
When did you begin to realize that the stress was getting to you?
Yes, so we started in California. We went to, 5 different cities each time we were moving around, which also, I think that was very naive, and not realizing how much of a physical toll that would take with a 2-month-old baby. I think I realized that the stress was getting to me when I found myself not being able to sleep at night, just out of worrying that, something bad was going to happen, or that I was doing something wrong. I found myself just worrying all the time, and I couldn't get myself to sort of slow down and sleep.
At all?
I think I had sort of broken sleep, but there was a period where I wasn't really sleeping.
Do you think there was a trigger for what happened next?
I do think so. I think the trigger was a conversation I had with my father-in-law, and it followed many days of already not sleeping. It was very early morning, and he told me that he realized that I was stressed and that I was having a difficult time, and he was very kind. But then he had to warn me to be careful, because he thought I might have postpartum depression, and he had heard or knew someone who had postpartum depression, and they had shaken their child, and the child had gone blind. And that was a trigger for me, because I went upstairs and I looked at my son, and just all these thoughts about, was I going to shake him? Was I going to hurt him?
You thought you might?
Yes, I was concerned. I was picking him up to feed him, and I was worried that I was holding him too tightly, or was there a chance that I was going to shake him somehow? And then I looked down at my son, and his eyes weren't his own eyes. They were the eyes of a demon. Sort of like devil's eyes. So his eyes changed physically. They were red. They were kind of glancing around, and they were looking at me with a lot of fear.
You say it now as though